Hello, it's Much Grace. Welcome back to the podcast. This is episode 3, and we're going to be talking about Bobby DeBarge and LaToya Jackson and the famous Switch song, I'll Call Your Name. If it was written for LaToya Jackson by Bobby DeBarge. So before we really get into the podcast, I just want you guys to hear Greg Williams and Jody Sims, their take on the song and if it was written for LaToya Jackson.
And over time, the song's reputation got a boost from rumors that it was inspired by Bobby's real-life relationship with fellow singer LaToya Jackson.
A lot of people are under the impression that I Call Your Name was written for LaToya. Keep in mind that it was written in the time that Bobby was seeing LaToya, early 1977.
It sounds good because it's LaToya Jackson, but no, it wasn't about a girl at the time he was telling me. That was more of a spiritual thing he was talking about.
I wasn't in love with LaToya Jackson, and I did the majority of the lyrics on the song. I did love her. LaToya was my friend. I ain't gonna tell that lie, but I wasn't in love with LaToya like.
What do you guys think? Greg Williams said that he wrote the majority of the song and he wasn't in love with her. It was Bobby who was in love with her. And then you have Jody Sims say, no, it's more of a spiritual thing. What do you guys think? I think it was inspired. She inspired him, even if not the lyrics, just the way he sang the song. I think it was definitely probably inspired by LaToya Jackson. So we're going to get further into it. And I also want to mention, for those that don't know, but most of you all know, that LaToya Jackson's brother, Jermaine Jackson, was married to Berry Gordy's daughter, Hazel Gordy, at the time. And so Jermaine Jackson was instrumental with Switch in bringing them to Mr. Gordy and producing their album. So there's that connection, as well as Bobby DeBarge wrote a song called You and I, and he made reference to one of LaToya Jackson's song, Nighttime Lover, I believe was the name of it. So there's that.
All right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive with us. Today we're going somewhere pretty interesting.
Yeah, should be fun.
So we're diving into a little piece of music history trivia, something I found pretty fascinating, and I think you will too.
All right, let's hear it.
So get this. Bobby DeBarge, from the group Switch, dated LaToya Jackson. Now, you might be thinking...
Whoa, hold on. Really?
Yeah. Surprised me, too, when I first heard it. But anyway, you might be thinking...
I was going to say, like, okay, cool. 2 famous people dated. What's the big deal?
Right, exactly.
Happens all the time.
Yeah. But with this one, I think it goes deeper than your average celebrity gossip.
Oh, I bet.
Because we're talking about...
It's the DeBarges and the Jacksons.
I know.
2 of the biggest names in R&B history.
Right, like musical royalty.
Exactly. So suddenly you've got these 2 huge musical families intersecting.
It's like, what was the music scene even like back when Bobby and LaToya were together? Were their families like...
Oh, yeah, good point.
Already connected somehow?
I mean, yeah, think about it.
Like, do they ever all...
They were both making music in the late 70s, early 80s.
Oh, wow.
Like prime time for R&B and funk.
Yeah, that's true.
So much creativity happening, so much innovation. You have to wonder if their relationship, left some kind of mark on the music they made.
I see what you're saying, yeah.
Like, did it have any influence on their creative journeys at all?
Okay, so let's break this down. We've got Switch, that smooth, soulful funk, those incredible harmonies.
Oh, yeah.
And then we've got LaToya kind of carving out her own space with that blend of R&B and pop and even some disco in there.
Right.
So did they... influence each other's sound? Did they inspire each other?
It's funny you say that because when I listen to Switch's I Call Your Name,
Okay, yeah.
I actually hear these little hints of LaToya's rhythmic vocal phrasing in there. It's subtle, but it's there.
Interesting.
And then there's the way Switch uses those layered harmonies and tight horn arrangements.
Yeah, that's like their signature.
Exactly. It's a defining element of their sound. And it makes you wonder, could that have influenced LaToya's later work? Like when she started collaborating with producers like Nile Rodgers, who was known for those super sophisticated arrangements.
Oh, that's a great point. I wouldn't have noticed that connection on my own. But LaToya's music, at least what I've heard, always felt more pop-oriented to me.
That's true.
So how does that square with the influence of Switch's funkier sound.
That's where things get really interesting. Maybe their relationship didn't necessarily lead to, like, overt stylistic mimicry,
Yeah, okay.
but maybe it fostered some kind of shared artistic vision.
I like that.
Like maybe they bounced ideas off each other.
Behind the scenes.
Exactly, pushing each other to experiment and grow as artists.
Okay, I'm on board with that.
Yeah.
So we've got this possible connection between their personal life and their creative output.
Right.
What can our listeners do to really understand what's going on here?
Good question. I'd say as you're listening to both artists, pay really close attention to how they use synthesizers. Did their approach change over time?
And could there be a connection there?
Exactly. And listen to their vocal delivery. Are there any shared inflections? Rhythmic patterns, these little details can be super revealing.
Man, this whole deep dive has really been eye-opening.
It's amazing, right?
Yeah, we started with this simple fact. They dated. And now we've uncovered all these potential influences and connections.
It's crazy what you can find when you start digging a little deeper.
Totally. Who knows what other musical mysteries are out there just waiting to be discovered?
Absolutely. So maybe Bobby and LaToya's relationship didn't directly translate into hit songs, but it might have created a shared artistic vision that subtly shaped both their careers. That's something for you all to think about as you explore the music of Switch and LaToya Jackson, especially from that era. You never know what you might hear.
That's all the time we have for this week's Deep Dive. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.